Hello, welcome. We'll be starting in just a couple of minutes. Going to give folks a chance to join, and I'm going to do my systems check. Let me know how I sound. Last week, the audio was bad, and I didn't realize. Let me know how I sound today if you're hearing me. Doing a quick check. Scheduled to start here in just a minute or two. Right. Checked. Looks like I'm live on LinkedIn. Check YouTube and Twitch. My second week on Twitch. We'll see how that goes. Again, if you're listening and you can hear me, would you let me know how I sound? I want to do a quick. Okay, that was hearing myself. It sounded okay to me, so I'm going to assume that the audio is okay, unless I hear otherwise. Okay. Thanks for joining me. Let me see. I still have a minute to go before I start, so I'm not going to jump the gun because if you're here early, that's great, but I don't want to exclude anybody who's coming on time. So just watch me breathe for another few seconds. I probably should get some music I could play here. That would probably be a little bit more interesting than just sitting here, but I think we're on time now, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm sure more people will be joining as the time progresses, but I'm going to get started. So today I'm going to be working once again on my open source project, Kivik. Let me share my screen. One moment. Trying to find the right windows. Too many tabs, too many windows, too many things. All right, here we go. Sharing screen now. All right. So I'm working on my open source project. It's called Kivik, Kivik. It is essentially a version of the SQLite or database SQLite package from the standard library. It's the same sort of concept, but for CouchDB, which is a NoSQL database, similar to MongoDB if you're not familiar with it. And I wrote this library several years ago. I think I started in 2017. It's been public for quite a while. I'm on version 4 now, the fourth major version. Almost 300 stars, almost on GitHub. What I'm working on the last several weeks, a few months actually, is making it possible to run this in memory only for testing purposes. So that the idea is if you have an application that uses CouchDB written in Go, and you for your unit test or your CI/CD or whatever, you want to test against an in-memory implementation of CouchDB rather than needing to start up CouchDB, a full service, maybe in Docker or something like that. So that's what I'm working on. I'm doing this by implementing. I'm using SQLite, which has an in-memory option. It also can work on disk, but the in-memory option is kind of the reason I chose it. So I'm writing the code to store CouchDB documents in SQLite, and I'm doing the translation layer. That's what I'm working on. Today, the goal is to, let me find my screen. Here it is. To implement the attachments capabilities on the all docs method. So I actually did include docs already. I can delete that. So all docs is like select star or select star from foo. It returns all the documents in the database, and documents can include attachments. So I want to add the ability to retrieve those attachments. I already have the ability to store them and to retrieve them one document at a time. Now I want to add the ability to retrieve those attachments when doing select star, essentially. So that's the feature I want to add today. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to work on that today and hopefully finish it. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. I don't actually. It's been a while since I did attachments work on this, so I don't think it's going to be too complicated, but I might surprise myself. Um, yeah, I guess I'll just dive in and get started. So I'm going to add a test. Uh, fetch attachments. It's not the best name, but that's what I'm going to go with for now. So you might notice I have this test.add. Test is a little sort of helper object I created in a library many years ago, actually, to facilitate table-driven tests. So that's what I'm doing here. And you can call it two different ways. You can call it by just passing in a test object, or in this case, I'm passing in a function that returns the test object. And that function takes t as an argument. And this allows me to do some particular setup, which is what I want to do in this case. So I'm actually going to sort of copy. I can just copy this probably. But then I'm going to modify it because I want to put attachments in at least one of these documents. In fact, I only need one document for now. So let's delete all this stuff. I don't need this. I do want to pass Kivik.params. So I need to pass the arguments to the fetch method, or the method is actually all docs in this case. I need to pass the arguments that tell it to return attachments. That will be include docs true and attachments true. I believe that's right. Let me double check the documentation for CouchDB because that's where the authoritative information lives. I could just pass it out here. Okay. Attachments is the one I want to look at. Here it is. Include the base64 content of the attachment. Ignored if all docs isn't true. Yeah, okay. So that's correct. I guess I didn't really need to change tabs there. Okay, now I need to add an attachment to the document so that there's something to test here. I have some helper functions to do that. I don't remember what they're called. Like I said, it's been a while since I worked on attachments here. Let me find my console again. I thought I had a console window open here. Yeah, there it is. New attachments. Here we go. So I can just copy and paste this. So that adds one attachment called foo.txt that has this content in it. Pretty straightforward. I don't really care what the content is right now. I just want to see that I get it. Now, this is going to fail. In fact, I can see it fails here. Tests failed. Let's run it ourselves and see why. All right. Oh, well, it failed for the wrong reason, so I need to fix the reason here. Yeah, it failed for totally the wrong reason. Failed because the value here was not what it expected. I don't know what. Okay, this key thing. What? It included a key that shouldn't be there. Okay, that's actually okay. But actually, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. It's actually doing the right thing, sort of. So I basically I forgot to tell it that I wanted to retrieve a document. So let me do that. So the document should contain it's a JSON string or JSON object represented as a string, right? ID is A. That's right here. It's going to have a revision. Every document has a revision, and the revision is this rev1 thing. And then it should have, no, I don't need that key. I'm going to delete that. Makes my test a little bit simpler. Then it should have attachments. And those attachments should be an object. The key is foo.text. And then I don't remember all the keys. We'll figure that out as we get there. I'm just going to put something in place holder here for now. I think it's content type text plain. It also is going to have a digest, a couple other things, and the actual content as well. Um, but that's enough to see that it's failing for the right reason, at least. Yeah, so this part is completely missing. So let's make it not be missing anymore. So now let me open up the file that actually controls this. This is just a test right now. So I'm going to open up, I think it's views.tech.go. And let's see. Yeah, I think this is the query we care about. Now this query is a little bit um, oh yeah, someone wants to see the URL to the GitHub repo. I'm happy to share that. It's github.com. So actually, the easiest way to find it is go to kivik.io and then click on the GitHub link there in the top right corner. kivik.io and click on the GitHub link. I will share it in chat, although it's not going to go to everybody. I think it's going to go to YouTube though. Tells me I have an internet connection problem. I don't think that's actually true, but let me double check quickly. Make sure that there's the link to the website, and then here's a link to the repo. Sorry for the delay here. I just verifying that everything's working. So I got an unusual message from my streaming software. Looks like it's working okay. Let me share those links on LinkedIn as well for anybody who's there or who's following along there. I'm not sure that worked. It looks like LinkedIn might be having problems. Oh, sorry about that. If you're on LinkedIn, apologize for that. But I'm going to continue now. All right. So, where was I? Okay. Yeah. So this query is a little bit complicated. It is a union query. You can see it also uses a CTE, which is defined in a different variable or constant. Okay, we got one person on LinkedIn that's working for them. For some reason, when I tried to share those links on LinkedIn, it told me it didn't work. So apologize. Kivik.io. Just type it in, I guess, if you want to follow along on the GitHub repo. All right. So where was I? Yeah, I was just talking about this query. What I need to do is start including attachment data in this query. And it's already, let me see, that's going to be a little bit tricky. I've done essentially the same thing already, another place. And it's a little bit cumbersome, but let me pull that up so we can compare notes. So, I think this is it. No, this is not it yet. Here it is. So what I essentially do is there's a potentially a one-to-many relationship between documents and attachments, right? So a document can have 0, 1, 2, 12,000 attachments, whatever. So the way I'm handling this is I return the document data first. So that's the things like the document ID, its revision, the document content itself, and whether it's deleted. So that's what I'm doing here in this other query that's already working. Then I also return the number of attachments as the next column, and then attachment data. So if that number of attachments is 0, then these will be null. If that is 1, then these will contain the first attachment, and that's it. If this is 2 or more, then this will contain the first attachment, and the subsequent rows will contain these values as null, and the attachment data for the subsequent attachments. So that's essentially what I want to do. I could probably illustrate that. So we have something like, just to simplify, ID doc attach count file name attach body. Let's say those are our columns, right? And then we'll have something like ID foo document whatever attachment count 0 and then null. Then for bar we have whatever document attachment account 1, and then we'll have foo.text and whatever the body is. And then let's say for the next one, baz, we have whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now we have attachment account 3, so we'll see something like a.txt, and the body is AAA. Then we'll see a null here. Just not enough room there. A null here. I don't know what's there. I think it's I don't know if it's a 0 or null. It doesn't really matter. And then b.txt, blah, 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 null, 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 c.txt. Does that make sense? Does that make sense what I'm doing there? So this represents one document, this represents one document, and then these 3 rows together represent one document. And you can have nulls at various points depending on the circumstances. So that's what I essentially want to replicate or duplicate for this other query that I'm going to be doing today. So I need to add some rows here, and yeah, make it work. I'm going to start though. This is going to be intrusive code, so I'm going to commit what I have, even though it doesn't work. I'm going to commit a failing test, so I have a baseline I can work on. Add failing test for fetching attachments via all docs. Okay. So now I have the freedom to fool around and screw things up, and I can just revert if I want to, which very likely will happen. We'll see though. So the first thing I want to do is add those extra columns. I want to add. Let me see what they were. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't no, I do care about that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns to add. Attachment count, file name, content type, length, digest, and rep plus. I want to add those columns as nulls just to make the query work, and then I'll start populating them. So let's do that first. So here I have a union. So that means there's 2 queries. There's this one, and then there's the main one. So I need to add these 6 columns to both of those queries such that the code still works. So let's just do null as, and I'm going to add these as's, you know, the whatever they call those aliases, whatever, just mostly for my reference. Okay, so here I had a question earlier if this was 0 or null. It's actually 0. It doesn't really matter, but let me just make that update that, and I'll be consistent. So I'm going to as attachment count, null as file name, null as content type, null as length, null as digest, null as rev pause. Okay, now I want to add the same things to the second part. If I don't do that, then the thing's going to fail because the 2 queries don't have the same number of columns. So I think I just add that right here. So now the SQL should be valid, but it won't pass because I'm returning more values that I'm querying, right? Let's watch it fail. Yeah, so I'm returning 12 destination arguments, but I'm only asking for 6. So I need to update that in at least one place. I think more than one. Read first row is going to have to modify that. So read first row. I have this little discard type, which I'm going to use for these 6 new rows, at least for now. That won't be the way I always do it, but for now, I just want to make the code pass, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so now it should pass there, but I'm sure there's at least one other place, maybe more than one other place, where I have to do this. So yeah, rows has a next, which also scans. Yes, right here. I have to do it here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, discard just satisfies the required interface to be scannable, but it does nothing, right? That's all it does. I think this is going to pass now. Okay, I missed it somewhere. Expected 6 destination arguments of scan not. Oh, okay. So I know what's going on here. What happened is I actually have 2 different places that use this rows interface, or not interface, but type. And I only updated one of them to send 12 arguments. The other one still sends 6. So I need to update that other one to also send 12. It's I'll need to be adding those 6 fields later anyway, so it's not harmful to add them now. But I'm going to once again just make them all nulls to make things pass, and then maybe today I'll get to that. I don't know. It might be another day. I'll get to adding the attachments capability there as well. But let me find where I copied this. Okay, so I want to copy these nulls and do the same thing here. And this is another union. I don't need it there. I have a union all. This is actually 3 queries merged together, but I need to add that to all 3 of them there as well. Attachment count, blah, blah, blah. And then down here. Let's see if that does it. Something else is still not right. Oh, okay. So there's one place. This place. Actually, I'm not sure about this. Expected 12 destination arguments in scan, not 6. Okay, I'm not sure where that's coming from. I don't think it's from here because I'm pretty sure I just checked that. Yeah, this has 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So someplace I'm still only scanning for 6 arguments, not for 12. It's not here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that's good. Where could that be? And I mentioned it here. Let me look for scan. Could this be it? I don't think so. What is this? No, I don't think it's here. It's not there. This is the place where I'm already doing file name stuff. All right, where am I missing that? Must be here. Oh, yeah. This makes sense here. Okay. So this is a place where is it? Scan. Yeah, I'm going to need to add those 6 empty arguments here. They'll be non-empty later on, but for now, that's what I want. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And something else is broken. Expected 6, not 12. Okay. Let me see where that's used. Is that on a test, perhaps? Oh, I bet it's in a test. Yeah. Because I have a test that reads that in some cases too. It's not here. Check rows, maybe. This isn't doing what I was looking for. Where does it scan here anywhere? No, that's not related to what I was looking for, I don't think. Getting closer though. There's only a small number that are failing now, but I'm not sure where they're failing. So this is an example where my tests are a little bit too complicated. It doesn't make it obvious when something's doesn't make it obvious. It doesn't make it obvious to me where the failure is when I have this failure. So it's a smell. So this is I think these are all part of this. Yes, test debugger. This is all part of the method I'm not actually trying to change today. But let me see how it's doing the test. Maybe there's something I'm missing down here. Some test related code that's wrong. I don't think so. Yeah, so it's actually the code itself is somehow wrong somewhere. Do another look at scan here. It's got to be the scan method that's having problems. Pretty sure that's the only option. So I'm looking for one that calls it with, what was it, 6, but I need 12, or was it the other way around? Expected 6 destination arguments in scan. Okay, so actually, I think this is another case where the SQL is wrong. So I must have another query somewhere that is only returning 6, but I need to add nulls to it somewhere. So I don't remember where that is, but let's see if we can figure it out. It's probably in reduce here somewhere. See if I get a clue. This is group. Yeah, these are all group related stuff. So it's related to this, I think. Let's see. This is being called where? That's not it. Where is this being used? All right, I'm a little bit lost here. I'm not finding what I want. Let me try about it a different way. Let me just look through this file. So this file handles the MapReduce, some of the MapReduce stuff. And I think that's where it's being called without the right number of return values in the select statement, but I'm trying to find where the select statement is defined. It's not defined in this file. That means it's got to be defined here, I think. Okay, this one has the right number. I added all the stuff here, so it's not this one. Let's update index. Here, this looks like it. What is this? Perform group query. Yes, this has got to be it. This is the one that's missing it. Okay, so now let me copy this stuff here. Get attachment count through rev pause. And we want, that's a CTE. I don't need to modify that. Here I need to add a bunch of nulls. And then there's the union. And then here's a bunch of nulls. I think that's it. Oh, now something else is broken. The other direction again. Okay, this must, here it is, this one. There's too much duplicated code here. I need to reduce that. I need too many places to add this discard thing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's working, except this broke randomly. It looks like some ordering is broken. Is that random? Or did I? Yeah, I think I know what's going on there. I have a bug file to fix that. So I'm going to ignore that for right now. This is what I was hoping for. So after adding those null columns, I have everything back to a workable state, except that my new test is failing. But I'm going to commit all this. Now, hopefully, you can understand why I wanted to commit that broken test first, so to have an easy place to roll back, because that was kind of messy there, and I might have worked myself into a corner and wanted the ability to revert it. But I didn't. I didn't ultimately have to. All right, now I don't care about this file anymore, at least not for the moment. I don't care about this file. I don't care about this file. Don't care about that file. I care about this file. So now we need to start returning some attachment data when there are attachments. So let's start. Maybe I do want that query file again, because that's where I have the previous logic that does that. Accountment, attachment. Let's try that. Accountment. That's a good word. So here is the logic that sets up that attachment count thing, which is going to be part of not that this first. So by the way, the reason I have two queries here is the first one basically returns some metadata that we don't actually care about for today's exercise. So I'm really going to just breeze past that. What we care about. So the point is this returns a single row always, and this should actually be nulls in all cases for that. What we care about is this part. So this is where I need to add the new logic to include document or attachment count. So let's see how this goes. I don't know how similar these queries actually are. This part looks pretty similar. Here we're selecting sequence and ID. Here we don't get the sequence, but we get the same ID, rev, doc. We get similar things. Actually, I might want to add that. Well, I'll do that later. One thing at a time. But I should add that to do list. Let me check something here. No, it doesn't matter. The thing I was thinking of, it's irrelevant, so I'm not going to even explain it. All right. Yeah. So here we do a left join. We select all this. So I'm gonna have to do another level of subquery, which is kind of annoying. Not least of all because it makes my brain hurt. But it's what it is. So as it stands right now, I am. Yeah. I'm returning, doing a left join conflicts. Yeah, I need to do the left join, so I need to make this one depth level deeper. It's kind of annoying because I don't really know where to start. I also have this row number thing. So I need to add row number and attachment count, but one thing at a time. Let me think how to do this. Because I want to add the same case when thing. I want to add the same conditional to all of these. All right, so here's this select roughly corresponds to this one. And then that select corresponds to this one. In fact, those look very similar. They both say from leaves, and I have a row number here already. Am I not using that? So I'm using it here. Okay, that's quite similar. Oh, good. Glad to hear the audio is good today, Dennis. I don't know what I changed. I don't know if I changed anything. Face of the moon. All right. Now here I call this one view, and this one I call rev. That shouldn't matter, but it's important to notice the difference. On the left join, so here I add the attachments. Here I'm just left joining on conflicts. So that actually, I wonder if I want to add conflict support here first. I don't think I've done that yet. Let me look and see if that's in my to-do list, or if there's a reason I don't want to do that. Okay, so here I have conflicts equals true. Looks like I'm already doing that. Where is that coming from here? Or am I looking at the wrong? Oh, this is update index. I should look at a different example. I'm not going to explain, unless somebody really cares, I'm not going to explain what update index does right now. What I do want to find though is, let me see, so where's update index called? It's called from up here. Nope, that's not what I want. Perform query, update index here. This should be the query I'm looking for. Oh, this one doesn't have attachments either. So that kind of changes my approach. Oh, not really. Just means that I was down a short rabbit hole. You see how many places I actually do this attachment count thing. Might just be that. It can't be just that one, is it? So here's one and changes. I don't care about that one. Well, yeah, that's not what I want. Open revs. It's just one place. It's immediately relevant. Doing similar thing here and here, but okay. I'm gonna just I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. So what I need to do is to make this one level deeper. I think this whole thing. No. So this is probably really boring to watch. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of staring and trying to make sense of my own thoughts. I already had a row number thing here. Let me think about how that works. I'm trying to remember what this row number and rank are used for in this particular query. I think this is to select the winning revision. Group, no, that can't be. It can't be quite that simple, can it? Oh my goodness, I can't remember what that's for. So I'm selecting a row number, a partition by over ID. order by, yeah, okay, so that is selecting the winning revision. That's what that's for. Did I do the same thing here? Row number, no, that's a little bit different. So I think I need to replace this query with something that does a join. Or maybe I can just add the join right here. Let's try it. I can always revert if things go haywire. Left join, attachments, bridge, as bridge on dot id equals bridge d, and rev.rev equals bridge rev, and rev.rev id equals bridge.rev id. Left join attachments as at on bridge.pk equals http.pk. I'm not going to go over all the subtleties there. The problem is I actually have two concepts of rank I need to do. So you can see here I'm doing this rank where I select unique ID. That's okay. That's the same thing I have here. Okay, can I use it? I can't use the same one, can I? Maybe. But then I had another. Oh, here's row number here. I have row number twice. Okay. All right. That's fine then. That's fine. I think it's confusing. This is called row number. Okay, that makes more sense. And this one is as rank. Okay, so the rank one is fine. And then here I do this. I think I can do the same where rev is it dot rank. Why does it? No. This probably doesn't even need to be its own subselect, honestly. It's kind of silly. Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit confused. I think it could be simplified. I'm not going to do it now, but I think it could be simplified to get rid of that subselect. I think that's what's throwing me off. But I think here I want to do where rank equals 1. And I think I can get rid of this then. It's probably going to break everything. Let's just see. Syntax error. Okay. Oh. Biggest column name ID. Pardon me. Where did I have an ambiguous column name ID? Right here is where. Okay, I'm going to undo this. Yeah. Get back to known good space. Known good place, space, whatever. Okay, what I want to try to do here is just move this view rank into the other query and see if that actually works, if it's logically the same. So I want to do that with no other changes. Misuse of aliased window function. Yeah, okay, so it has to be in a subquery. So maybe that means that this does need to be a subquery just for that windowing function to work. In which case, maybe I need to add another subquery here, which is kind of silly, but blech. These look so much the same. ID, rev ID. That's a little bit different. Yeah, okay, it's not identical. No, it's very, very similar though. Here's that doc, and then delete it. I don't know if I need that to remove this in both places. You know what? For the heck of it, why don't I just remove that and see if anything breaks? If not, then I might as well simplify my query ever so slightly. Nothing broke. Let's try it here too. Awesome. All right, ever so slightly queries. That's nice. Row number as rank. Okay, select from leaves. Good. And this is called view. Okay, view rank equals 1. That's fine. I have this other one. The one I think I care about for this though is this one called row number. Is that the one where this case? Yeah. Okay. So let me add that one. Where is? Okay. I'm starting. So this is no longer select star. That's the dissimilarity between these two. Let me start by basically just copying the names here, and then I'll modify it. So I'm going to do the smallest possible change first. So ID. Actually, what's the name of the table here? The table is called. Select all this. Blah blah blah. Doesn't have a name. What's it called here? It doesn't have a name here. Okay, that's fine. So select ID key. I'm just going down from here to here to here to copy the same values. So I'm being explicit that I'm turning the select star into a selected in a list of all the columns I was selecting. That's the intention. Rev, doc, conflicts, attachment, count, file name, content type, length, digest, rev, pause. Should be exactly the same. It's just now explicit. Let's see if that works. Yes. Okay. Let me go ahead and quit that. All right. Now I can add this windowing function that I need, I think. Row number. It's still in a funny place here. So it's here. That's okay. I can do that. I can live with that. It doesn't matter. Let me just copy this, and I'm going to put it at the end. No, I'm not going to put it at the end. I'm going to put it in the exact same place it is here, just so they're more similar. So this is after attachment count. So they're not identical, but I'm going to at least, to the extent that they're the same, I'm going to try to keep them the same. Let me make sure that still works. No, it doesn't work. The rev ID doesn't exist. Okay, it's a different name. It's called view here. So let's do view. Hopefully that'll make it work. All right. So now we have that windowing function that returns the row number. Now the row number should always be 1 right now because I'm not yet selecting more than one row. But now it should be safe to add this stuff, this case when row number equals thing. Case when row number equals. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. In fact, I'm going to revert the thing I just did. I definitely want to do that. But if I do it right now, it's not going to be obvious if it's right or wrong because I don't have a test yet to test the negative case. So instead, I'm going to start querying those extra rows and fix that logic, and then I can continue from there. Because basically, the point of that row number was to return a null. That's to set null here in these first few rows, right? Which is really just an optimization. So I shouldn't be doing that first because for one thing, I can't test it yet, and for another thing, it's an optimization. So I'm going to work on the functionality stuff first. But I at least I know where to put that now. The next thing I need to do is to turn this. I'm in the wrong file. turn this null as attachment count into an actual thing. And so we saw that right here. This is essentially what I want to do, but first I need to add those left joins. Let me do that. All right. Yeah, I can just do it right here. Left join, attachments, bridge, as bridge on, and then it's view.id equals bridge.id, and view.rev equals bridge.rev, and view.rev id equals bridge.rev id. Left join. Actually, is it a left join or a join? I don't think it matters in this case. I'll copy what I have on the right hand side there, since I know that one works. As at on bridge.pk equals at.pk. I expect something to break now. Actually, I don't expect anything to break right now. It should just still work. It would break if I ever had a document with more than one attachment, which I don't yet, but I'll get there. One thing at a time. Okay, now I can start returning actual data here. So this becomes, well, I'll get there. First, let's do at.filename, at.content type, at.length, at.digest, at.rev, pause. Should be working. I mean, in the sense that it's not failing any worse. I should, in principle, my query is now returning attachment data. My code just doesn't know how to read it yet. It's not even trying to read that yet. So now I'm going to add this attachment count thing. I just copied and pasted that. It's probably not quite right. Yeah, because this needs to be view instead of rev. Otherwise, it should be right. Let's see how it works. It should still fail, but in the same way. So far, so good. Okay, now I'm going to add my logic to actually read those attachments, which happens here in next. And I have an analog method is over here. I think this is the analog here. Yes, it is. Here we read file name, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this changes the complexity a little bit. I need to wrap this whole content thing here in a for loop. So let's do that. Actually, you know what? Baby steps. I'm going to commit this first. Join against attachments data and start returning attachments, but they aren't. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to turn this into, so essentially what I need to do, so what this function does right now is it iterates over the results from the SQL driver. That's what rows.next increments to the next row. If there are no more rows, then we check to see if there was an error in iterating. If there was, we return that error. If not, we return an EOF, which just indicates that we're done, but it's not really an error. So it's an error value, but it doesn't indicate an error status exactly. And otherwise, if there is another row to be iterated over, then it reads it. That's what scan does here, and then does the whatever parsing is necessary. We need to change this to match over here, the one on the right-hand side, because now each document can be one or more rows. So we need to put this in a loop that handles aggregating multiple rows into a single document. So that's why this is a for loop here. And it's not that complicated, but we'll do it here. So now it's broken. Right now it's just an infinite loop. That's not right. And then this logic is basically the same. we need to move some logic out, or some of these variables out of the loop. In particular, where is it? This toMerge needs to be defined. It's a terrible name, but yeah, this toMerge needs to be defined somewhere else. So let me. It's called full doc. Okay, it's still broken. I need to put a break in here. How did I do that before? Here, it's with this. So for now, I'm just gonna put a break there at the end. Let's see if it works. Yeah, so it still works. We just added this extra that for now it's a superfluous. Did I say that right? Superfluous for loop, but it will serve a purpose. The other thing I need to do then is move attachments count, or create an attachments count variable. Attachments count int. And then we can start scanning that right here. That's the first variable that was a discard before. We're not using it yet, but it should still work. Woo, no. Oh, because it's null, of course. So how did I handle that here? So okay, that's why it was a coalesce in this other one, if you may remember. We had coalesce attachments count to 0. I should put a space in there. That looks better. So I'll do the same here. Arguably, I could make it work with null values, and that would be nicer, perhaps. Maybe ever so slightly more performant, but I'm going to be consistent for now, and I'll worry about performance if it ever bothers me, if I ever see an actual problem. Okay, still getting null. And the reason is because I have all these other queries that do the same thing. So I need to make the exact same change other places. Was it one or two other places where I just added that earlier? I don't remember, but we're going to fix them all. Okay, here's one. And actually, no, I'm just going to change this to 0. Let me undo that last one also. Because there's like not anything to actually select yet. So just make it explicit 0. And then here also. Probably being a little more aggressive than anything. Like some of these could be nulls. In particular, the ones in the metadata queries could be nulls, but like I said, it doesn't really hurt to make them zeros. Oops. Did I get them all? I did, and there's that weird bug ordering bug I triggered earlier too. All right, let's commit this. Very small micro change, but it's a small step in the right direction. Okay, how do I describe this? I made this one here. Make rows dot next operate on a loop and scan attachment count. Still not using attachment count, but we're getting incrementally closer to the right right behavior. All right, now we can kind of work on duplicating some of this functionality here. So here I have, let me see. So over on here on the right, I have these values. These are terribly named, but I have row sequence, which we don't care about on the left, row ID, row rev, and row doc, which we do care about on the left, and row deleted, um, which are all pointers to these values, and that's to allow for them to be null in the results. I don't have that right now on the left. You see key and doc are byte slices. They're not, and rev is a string. These are expected to not be null because for now they never are. Once I finish this, they will be null except for the first row for each document. But I'm not going to worry about all of that right now. What I'm worried about right now is to get rid to make these discards something else. You spot a flecky test? Yeah, I do too, and I have a bug filed about it. It's an ordering. My collation is broken somewhere, and I haven't tracked it down yet. Unless you saw something else, but I think it was. I think you saw this. Yeah, it's a flaky collation bug. All right. So, we need to basically file name, content type, length, digest, and rev pose. These are the things we need to start scanning now. So these can all become variables here. So I'm just going to add them to this block right now. The truth is, most of the things in this block will be moved up to the scope of the function rather than the for loop. But for now, it's okay that they're where they are. We'll do that later in a optimization or refactoring iteration. For now, my goal is to 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, these are the 6 new variables that we want to start scanning. So let's start scanning them. File name, content type, length, digest, rev pause. Now they're scanned, they're still being ignored, but this should work. This shouldn't fail anything. Yep, okay. Let's go ahead and commit that. It's super small, but all right, Martin. Martin says he has to go. Thanks for joining. Hope to see you here again, maybe next week. All right, now here comes the interesting part. Here's where we actually check to see if we got interesting data that we need to use. So that would be here. Um, let's do it like this. If file name does not equal nil, then I can kind of just copy this right here. Except full isn't the name. That's a better name. Full is where's it defined? Oh, it's passed in. That's okay. Full is this this thing I called to merge. I'm going to rename that to full. It's a much better name. It's still not a perfect name. Um, full doc would be a good name. Maybe doc. Maybe I should call it doc, except that I have doc defined here. I'm going to call it full for the moment to be consistent. Can be improved, but that's what I'm going to call it for now. Okay. Now let's copy this again. I can just copy this block here. It's not identical, but it's very close. Oh, maybe it works. Okay. And then actually this logic can be copied here too. Test failed. Let's see what failed about them. Wonder how badly they failed. They failed in exactly the same way as before, which is not what I expected, but okay. I'm going to start debugging here. This code is really starting to get out of hand. I have to say, it's becoming too big. Needs to be refactored in some ways. I should have Dennis on to help me think through how to do that. I think I'm too close to the code to see how to refactor it properly for another day. For now, what I want to see is if attachments count is being set to something useful. So I'm going to run just this single failing test so that I only see the output from that test. Oops. Get an equal sign in there. Attachment count is 1. That seems correct. Let me think. Let me see what's going on here. This is why it's failing. Okay. Because I'm setting row.doc before that ever happens. It's because this is happening in a little bit different order. This is something also that could be done to improve the code, is make this less, remove the duplicate code. There's several functions that do very similar things. This one over here called iter and the one I'm working on right now are very similar. They're not identical, like they have different columns and stuff they use. But I could probably find a way to standardize on at least something. If not the same function, I could remove some duplication. But that's not what I'm working on right now. I'm working on adding attachments capability. So I want to do that first. Then I can work on refactoring. And probably not today. Last week was all about refactoring. Okay, so basically the problem here is that I'm setting row.doc here, and then I add the attachments, which isn't right. So basically row.doc should be set outside of this for loop. That might solve it. Hey, it did. That solved it. So now I have a failure I expect, because remember, I knew it was going to return some other data fields. It's returning those here, digest, length, and so on. So I need to add those to the test. And then we're almost done with this first example. Where's that test I was writing? Here it is. So I have first content type, good, and then I have digest. I'm just gonna copy this. This is basically an MD5 sum of the content in base 64, so that shouldn't change. It's not as arbitrary as it looks. Length is 25. Rev pos is 1. Now there's still there's actually one bug here, and that is that stub is set to true, and it shouldn't be. Oh wait. It is this is returning a stub, but why? That's the question. Because include attachments should include the content body, the attachment body as well, but that's not even in the query. Okay, that's interesting. So I need to add that. So every place I added those 12, went from 6 to 12, I have to go to 13 now because I had to add one more column to this query. Where is the query? Come on, here you are. So I have attachment. I know I have done that somewhere else. What did I call it? Content file name, content type. Nope. Where else am I doing this and returning the just want to know what the I want to know the column's called, but there's an easier way to do that. I don't know why I'm grepping. I can just look at my schema definition here. It's called data. Okay. Am I fetching that somewhere? I am. All right. So, yeah, I need to add that. Let's do it. Let's put that right after. The order doesn't really matter. Let me see what order I used before. I'll put it at the end, so I'll do the same thing. This data. I need to actually return some data here. I don't. Okay, that's fine. And then data here, null as data. All right, everything's gonna be broken, blah, blah, blah. Let's add another discard. How many places are broken now? All bazillions of them. And then here, that's the first row. Yeah, okay. Okay, next, da, 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 da. Let's do data byte. We'll just scan straight into data for now. We're still not assigning it anywhere, but at least rather than putting a discard in place there. So you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a discard. It doesn't really matter, but I like the consistency of one small change at a time and doing the same change everywhere. I feel like that makes it a little bit easier to follow. If anybody ever looks at the history and they probably won't, but can be really relevant in some cases. Okay, I also need to do the same thing over here somewhere. Wherever I have those like 7,000 discards, I need to add one more. One, two, three, four, five, 6. I already added it here. Okay. Well, that's the only spot apparently in that file. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the okay. I'm sure I'm not done yet. Expected 12, not 13. So someplace expected 12 destination arguments in scan, not 13. So someplace is still only returning 12, which I guess I should have expected. I just forgot to update that everywhere. Here we go. Here's another one. Null as data, union, blah, 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 and null as data. Okay. Still missing it somewhere. Null as rev pause. Here's another place I'm missing it. Null as data. Don't think that's all of them yet, but let's see. I don't know what all these errors are about. Hopefully they go away soon. Where else am I missing this? Null as rev pause. I'm not sure where else I'm missing this. Expected 13. Okay, this is the opposite problem. So somewhere I still need to scan for 13, not 12. First row, was it here? I don't think so. I think I already did this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's got 13 there. Okay. Look for other scans. That's the one I'm editing actively, and that one's fine. There's only 2 in this file, and they're both fine. How about here? I'm pretty sure I did this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's a different one. Here, this one. Oh no, not this one. This is the one I'm copying from, but it's already fine. And I just tried that one. Okay, what am I missing? What am I missing? Was it reduce? Did that have one of those? Yeah, here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this is it. Fingers crossed that we're done. We're not quite done yet. All of these are returning doc quote. Okay, I know why that's happening. I made a mistake down here. This shouldn't be done unconditionally. This should only be done. Wait, what is row? Why am I setting something to row? Oh, I know what that is. Okay, I know what that is. There should be if full is not equal nil. That's what this should be. Whoops. except that full needs to be nillable. Click the wrong thing. I think that should solve it. The problem is that while I was setting a document for every row, regardless of whether it was requested or it had any data in it, and then you're going to those weird empty documents. Okay, something's broken here. Let's see, no pointer dereference. Where is that happening? Line 280. Okay, so this needs to be a little smarter. The problem is attachment count. Let's do it like this. 0, and I think that'll work. The problem is that obviously if full is nil, then this is a nil pointer dereference. I think that'll work. Basically, anytime full is not nil, attachments count should be greater than 0. But let's see. Okay, well, it didn't panic, but it did a bunch of other weird stuff. Bunch of weird stuff. Like everything's wrong. I'm not even understanding what's happening here. It's like all of these results attachment count 0. That's fine. I don't know why I'm still debugging, putting that debug out, but let's get rid of that. I'm not even understanding what's happening here. So all these results are coming like nil now instead of with anything. It's quite a divergence from before. What did I change? I should have committed something a little bit earlier. I think I'm going to reset my branch and start again. I mean, not the whole thing, but the recent steps. I should have committed when I had it working, except for the attachment data, but I didn't. Yeah, I'm going to reset this. And I'm going to add that data column now separately. And then I'll re-add the logic for everything else. So let's do that. Data. Okay, that's the one I care about. Null as data. That one I don't care about, but it needs to be there just as a placeholder. Same thing here. Null as data. Null as data. I see some highs. Hi, Ness. Hi, Aslak. I don't know if I said that right. Welcome. All right. This one's going to be. No, I don't need to change this one. This is the update index. That one's fine. That one's already doing everything correctly. What's left? Okay. Now all the places where scan is being called need to be updated. Let's add another discard there and here. There's just 2 there. Okay, good. I think I need to add it here and then reduce had a place to add it to. See if I remember now. If I'm lucky, I'll get them all right the first time this time. I doubt it. Yeah. Expected 12 destination arguments in scan, not 13. Okay, so one of the queries still isn't returning enough arguments. Not a surprise. I don't remember where I missed it, but I'm not surprised I missed something. Okay, that one has data. If I had missed it in one of the subqueries and not the others, for the union, I would get a different error message. I don't have to check every case in each query. I just need to check that the query's added at least once. Data, okay. This is in query. So perform group query, the one I'm missing. Oh, that has it also. All right, what am I missing then? Let me look here. It's PB query stats with pre-aggregated value. This looks like. Let me read the error message. Expected 12 destination arguments in scan, not 13. Yeah, I think I'm not returning the right number of things from the query. And this is when it's doing a regular query, I think. What kind of query is this? Stats. This is a an aggregate. Include docs equals true. Yeah. I'm not sure where I'm missing something here. Here we go. This is what I'm missing. No, that's not it. That's update index. That one shouldn't have it. That one shouldn't have it. That's the one that already works correctly. My goodness, what am I missing? What am I missing? Oh, as rev. That's what I was looking for before, right? And that helped me find it. Let me try that again. Here, this one's missing something. Perform query. Okay, here it is. Glad I decided to do that. Don't know how I missed that before. And then this data. Okay, there's the error I told you I would get if I failed to put the correct number of results in each of the union queries. That's exactly what happened. Okay, you're at. I have a typo somewhere, an extra comma or something like that. Let me look at the diff here and see what I did wrong. That looks right. That looks right. That looks right. There, I missed a comma right here. Views.go line 131 ish. Yep, I missed a comma right there. There we go. I commit this. Add another column for attachment data. So ignore it so far. All right. Now let's go back to next method and try this thing again. Whoops. Hit too many buttons. Don't care about you. Go away. All right. I'm going to rename this to full to be consistent. I'm going to make it a pointer. Let's see if that still works. It does. All right, let's commit that. All right, make to merge. Let's see. Rename to merge var to full for consistency and make it a pointer. Got a comment here from Aslak. I'm struggling with a cyclic import error. I want to organize my project in a good way, but one library is forcing me to do things poorly. So I got a cyclic import error. Cyclic import errors are often a pain, but they're kind of a good thing in a sense because they kind of force you to do a good design. It's really hard to offer a concrete advice in the abstract. I don't know. Is this a project that you're able to share with me? Like, do you have it on GitHub or something? If you do, I'd be happy to try to look at it briefly and see if I can offer some advice. If you have a GitHub link you can share, that'd be great. If it's not, if it's something for work, maybe you can offer a little bit more detail about the nature of the problem, maybe I can offer some suggestions. Where are we? Now we need to start reading the attachment data, which was basically what we copied over here. If file name, this little block, essentially want to copy this now over to here and make all the little thingies work. That means moving this again to the end if full does not equal or equals nil. Then we do that. Oh wait, but this needs to come after the block. Good. And then we need to put this in here. If attachments count is greater than 0. And now it was broken when I did this before. I don't remember why. Let's find out. Yeah, that's what it was. It's making everything return nil. Why is it doing that? It doesn't even make sense to me why it would be doing that. Okay, I know why. I understand. I understand why. This is the wrong condition. What's happening is when attachments count is greater than is 0, which is the normal case, I never break. And so I loop to the next one. And then I have the end of the result set and it's an EOF. That's what's happening. Okay, so what do I actually want to check for? I want this to be if attachments count equals 0 or attachment count is equal to length, then break. I think that's what I want. Okay, we've got another error. What is it? To raw is failing 285 on 285. This is failing. Okay. And it's failing in this to raw. So we call to reader, which in turn calls to raw, and line 388 data ID. It seems to be happening because because it is that silly stupid me. In case you missed it, I had a if full equals null, and I wanted to check if full is not equal to null. Okay, now it's behaving as I expect. Now it's giving the output I intended. So let me once again update my test, the part I reverted, to include the additional fields that are actually included here. Digest. Here's this MD5 sum. You notice, though, that it still says it's a stub because I haven't finished wiring up that logic, but I will. All right, so now my test output shows what I actually expect, including the absence of stub equals true or stub colon true. I just need to make it actually do that. And that's easy-ish. I need to replace this discard with something about data. So let's scan here. Actually, let's just do it like this. I was jumping ahead of myself. The pointer to data was so that it could be null, but I don't need that right now. I'm jumping ahead of myself, so one thing at a time. All right, so I'm scanning into data, and then I need to do, what's the name of the field in this struct? Is it called data? It's called data. See if that works. No, something's wrong. I'm going to go ahead and do the pointer because I want to be consistent with everything else that's happening here. Everyone else is using a pointer. Just want to be as consistent as possible. Okay, why did it suddenly start failing here? That doesn't make sense to me. That's weird. I think I know why that might be. Let me look here. Data is the raw JSON representation of the attached data. It is decoded into content. Okay, so I actually need to set content, not data. See if that fixes it. Not quite. And I think that is because this toReader thing doesn't know how to handle attachments correctly. Let's check that out. ToRaw, blah, blah, blah. I don't think attachments are handled in here at all. Yeah, so I need to add attachments capabilities to this little method. If, hang on a second, I want to pull this up over on this side too. So I want to see how this is handled in other cases. Well, it's got to be handled somewhat because I'm getting the stubs. Here, is this where it's happening? If a dot stub or len. Okay, so here's the problem. I'm only checking for whether or not a dot data is set. I'm ignoring whether or not a dot content is set. But I guess I should be able to set one or the other. The thing is, this is a little bit confusing and suboptimal. The thing is that data and content should be the same data, right? It's just that data is the JSON representation and content is the raw representation. So the quick way to solve this is to set data rather than setting content. Which I could do here. Is that how I did it over here in this other place? I'm not setting it over here. That's so. Let me check where I did that other places. Get attachment does it. So here I set content, but I'm doing it on a different data. I'm doing it on a different type. That's another example of a place where I should probably try to reduce duplication. But for now, hmm, I guess I'll set. It doesn't really matter how I do it. I can always improve it later, right? So let's do it like this. If data does not equal nil, then let's do var JSON data. Error. Let's try this. There, that's exactly what I wanted. So now I'm getting the actual data I want. I don't really, it feels cumbersome and awkward, but it's working, which is the most important thing to start with. All right, that's working. Let's commit this. That works. Now, several things that don't work. um, so the main thing that I'm thinking of right now that's not going to work is well, let me just demonstrate. Let me just copy this test. So now this is, let's say, document as attachment, but attachments equals false. So that's the default, but I'm going to put it here just to be explicit. It's going to fail because what it should do here is now it should say stub equals true, and it's not going to. See, it's still returning the data. So that's going to be easy to fix. Basically, I need to change this query a little bit. I'm going to change, let me see, how many arguments am I passing to this query? I'm passing 1, 2. Is that it? That's nice. Oh, wait, yeah, 2. No, 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 no. Here, args. That's what I care about. So I want this to add, I want to add to this vops dot attachments. And then I need to increment some things. This is arguments $1, $2, $3, $4. I don't know if I have that many arguments here. Looks like that's fine. Basically, I want to pass that Boolean flag attachments, which corresponds to whether or not this attachment is true or false, to the SQL query, so that the thing I'm about to do will happen, which is right here. Nope, not right there, right here. Actually, I can simplify. I want to put it right here. If $4, otherwise null. So if that fourth argument is true, include this attachment data. If it's false, don't. That should fix my test. I think it's all I have to do, but let's see. That did it. Nice. Only include attachment bodies when attachments. It's true. For how long did you start Go? I started working with Go in 2015 or 16, maybe. It's been a while. Yeah, so it's been quite a while. Almost 10 years, not quite. All right. Now, there's several other things I haven't tested. I'm going to start a to-do list here under attachments here. Multiple attachments. What else? Is that the only other thing? So I've only tested with a single attachment. Oh, I want to null doc data for second plus attachment. That's the optimization I was talking about earlier. All right, let's start with multiple attachments. And this actually shouldn't matter so much whether I have the attachments flag or not, because all that controls is whether data or stub is done. So yeah, it's not really so much about the attachments flag as much as it is about just attachments on the document. Let's say doc with 2 attachments. All right, there's 2 attachments, so let's do stubs here, just to make the test a little bit shorter, and simpler, and less random data in it. True. So now I have a second attachment called bar.txt, which has a very similar structure, content, type, text, plain, digest. I don't know what that is yet, but we'll find out in a moment. Length, I'm not sure what that is either. 30 or something, 27, I don't know. Rev pause 1, stub, true. All right, let's see how that goes. Well, we're lucky. The only differences are there. Oh, and it sorts them in alphabetical order, which kind of makes sense actually. So let me reorder this a little bit. It's what did I just do? I'm going to just do it in line because it's kind of awkward to copy and paste JSON like this. So I know that this digest is changing. That moves here. I don't know what the first digest is, and this will be 25. All right, now just the first one is 27 is the new length. And the digest is this. No, that's not the digest I want. Here's the digest I want, I guess. Okay, so we're only getting one attachment. That is interesting. It's not exactly what I expected, but I guess it kind of makes sense. I may not have finished the logic to handle multiple attachments. So well, that's not what I expected, honestly. Let me see what this value is being set to again. Go test run blah. 1. Why is it 1? Because there should be 2 attachments here. Let's look at the query. Here's the thing. Select case when bridge.pk is not null, then 1, else. Okay, I think I have an idea here. Yeah, it's because this rank 1 is happening in the wrong place. I need to make this part of this subquery one level deeper, which is kind of a pain in the rear. Can I do it here? Probably. This is such a pain. La la la. So maybe the easy thing to do. I can easily just wrap one of these selects in a select star from and make it a subquery. That's easy. I need to figure out which one I want to do that to. Is it this one? I think so. Or yeah, I think that's what I want. What's my diff look like right now? Do I have anything uncommitted? All right, let me commit this change. Not that, just this. Add failing test for 2 attachments in all docs view. All right. So select star from, whoops. And what did I just do? Don't know what button combination I just hit, but I did something funky. Oh, that's the wrong file. Here we go. All right. I think so. That should work. Should be exactly the same. Oh, it's not quite right. It's not right because Now it should be right. But I'm also queer. I totally am not. It's totally not helpful yet, but it's a step in the right direction, I think. Okay, so I need to start moving some of this stuff out. So this limit can be easily moved, I think. Oh my gosh, that limit's completely wrong too. I don't want to move that out. Oh my goodness. I want to limit the number of documents returned, not the number of rows returned, because the number of rows could be anywhere from 1 to n number of rows per document. So that limit actually needs to stay in that subquery. So that's actually another something I'd forgotten about or hadn't realized, but that belongs inside there. So actually, I think what I need to move out is the attachments joins. So let's give this thing a name. Yeah, so basically all of this, no, from here on needs to move out of this query. If I had been able to think far enough ahead to do that first, it might have been simpler, but I'm not going to go all the way back and start over unless this turns out to be a nightmare. I don't think it will be. But I'm going to start by explicitly naming columns again, as I did earlier in a different spot. I think just actually right above here. Just makes it easier to see what I'm dealing with. Key, value, doc, conflicts, attachment, count, if I could spell, file name, content type. What else is there? Length, digest. Is it rev pause and data? Rev pause. Okay. Should still be exactly the same logically. Nope, made a mistake. Let's just call them rev. ID Kiva. Let's just call them rev. What are you talking about? Oh, rev is right here after value. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, so logically the same. Now, what do I want to call this subquery, subselect? Yeah, feel free to share. The question is if you can share your repo. Yeah, please do. Please do. Okay, what am I going to call this? I can call it rev because I've done that a lot, but it's really a bad name. I'm going to call it sub. Terrible name, but I can rename later. I'll call it sub. Okay, should still be valid. Okay, I'm going to add sub prefix to all of these columns just to be as explicit as possible, because I'm going to start renaming some of these or moving them, and then they'll be ambiguous, or some of them might become ambiguous. Still good? Yeah. Okay. Now that I've done that, I think I can move this out and put it here. And then now instead of joining on view, I'm joining on sub, sub, sub. Now there's no at here anymore, so all of this has to go away. And move up here. I'm missing the attachment count also needs to move. in principle, this should work fine, but I'll be surprised if I got it right the first try. No such column, sub.rev ID. Okay. That's because I'm doing this join thing here at kind of the wrong place. So let's move that out. So I'm going to join those strings together out here instead of in there. And then down here, I'm going to return view.rev as rev, view.rev ID as ID. And then I have to do the same thing here. So that's kind of confusing the way I did that, but changing the meaning of rev, which is suboptimal, but I'm not going to fix that right now. See if that works. Let's just call them sub rev ID. Okay, where did I do that wrong? Oh, I just spelled it wrong here is what happened. Okay, I don't know what happened. That's weird. I'm not sure what happened there. All right. I'm going to take a break from this. I only have 10 minutes left. I know when I try to answer this question about the cyclical import. So let me pull up the repo that was just shared. All right. We just have okay. So I haven't looked in detail here. We have. Let me try to make my screen a little bit bigger. Here, main.go. Let me close these other tabs so we just focus on this. So the first thing I see here is this dot import. I recommend never using dot imports. It's a feature that shouldn't even exist in Go, in my opinion. It's just better to do config.bot here. It's just much more clear what's happening. So that's not related to your question, I know, but it's my advice. But let's see about this cyclical import. So you're trying to import bot source config, and yeah, the module's called bot1, then source config. This must be importing bot1 somewhere. No. Oh, it was importing bot1 source. Okay, so bot1 source must be importing either config or bot1. It's importing bot1 source controllers utils. This is not a simple cyclical import. It goes around and around. That one doesn't import anything locally. This one imports config. Okay. You need some dependency injection is I think what you need here. How is config being used here? Not actually sure. That this is one reason the dot import is confusing. I can't even tell what is being referenced here that comes from that package. Is admin, I have to import the client. Oh, client here. Okay, so client comes from config. All right. Now I understand. So that, yeah, if that dot hadn't been there, then this would say config.client, which would be much more clear. So yeah, there it is. Client is coming from config. Well, so the easy solution here is to make, well, So I'm kind of jumping around all over the place here. The fact that you have a package called utils is also a smell. Utils doesn't tell me anything about what's happening. I don't know what it does. It's just, you might as well call it stuff or things or code. uh, I, put this is admin thing. Make it a method, perhaps, of something that's relevant. It could be on member, maybe, although that's a third party thing, so you can't do that. It could be a function or a method in config, maybe. I don't know what client does. Let me look at that. Client appears to be a singleton. Putting that in a package called config is a bit confusing to me. I would expect config to contain some data structures that just contain configuration, that's read from JSON or from the environment or something like that. And I do see some of that happening here. I mean, OS get env is perfect for a config package. But having what looks to be a global Discord client defined in a config package is probably not intuitive. So maybe you want to define this somewhere else. I mean, if you can get away from a singleton entirely, that's even better. But at minimum, define this maybe in your root package, in main, or maybe it goes in SRC. SRC isn't a very descriptive package name either. Yeah, it's hard to say exactly. I want the bot client to be accessed without importing package, but I can't. So in general, like I don't see a structure to this code right now. So it's like I can't just say, oh, move this over there. Like kind of the whole thing needs to be restructured. It's kind of my gut after spending only 5 minutes on it. It's not a lot of code, but it just feels like it's not really structured at all. I would if you're going to use a singleton, I would probably put that singleton in some sort of root level package. Could be main. Main would be probably okay. Or if you need to access it from multiple places, then create a package called bot or something. I see that there's already one defined here, but that's a third-party package. Maybe you have your own package called bot where this lives, and then you can put methods on it like is admin or whatever. Yeah, it's hard to give a really good answer to this in a really short time frame like this. But in general, this just code just looks like it's not organized. So you call bot. What does bot do? I remember just looking at that a second ago. It loads the environment. Instantiates a client. Yeah, that's fine. If it fails, it logs an error and returns. Okay. Then it waits for this package is doing far more than configuration. So calling this config is probably not the right name. And this is like the core of your logic. This is like your application, or at least the initialization of your application. So I don't know what you would call it, but if you move is admin into here, then you don't have that problem. Maybe then you can. So that could be maybe that's a quick win. Is put everything in one package. That's not the ideal long-term goal, but since everything is kind of hodgepodge together anyway, at least by putting it in one package, you wouldn't have import cycles, and then you could piece by piece move things out. Like you could move the get env and the go.env and the getenv stuff, you can move that into a package called config, where it's actually handling config. That might not be worth it for just what looks like 2 lines of code, but I think hopefully you get the idea. You could actually move the things that are config into a configuration package. I don't know what all this is. It looks like these are configuration for the bot package that you're just programmatically setting. So that may or may not belong somewhere else. I think that's what I would. I think that would be my short answer is move your isadmin function in here and move other things into here. Get rid of your import cycle that way, and then piece by piece you can start moving things out of here into logically organized packages. But as it stands, there's not really any reason to call this config or for it to be a separate package. This is your application. Put your application in here, and then move things out later. I hope that's helpful. That's my short answer in under 10 minutes. Yeah, that's what I would do. Thanks for sharing your code, by the way. Thanks for letting me talk about this. I hope that's useful. I'm going to wrap up. I didn't quite get back to what I was doing. I don't actually remember what happened. Oh, I had a surprise error. I don't know what's happening here suddenly, but I will work on this and get back to it. So anyway, thanks for joining me today. I did make progress on my open source project. My time is just about up. I have 1 minute left. So thanks a lot for joining me, especially those of you on Twitch. This is only my second time to stream on Twitch. I don't know if my material is good for Twitch or not, but apparently somebody seems to think so. So thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Let me do a quick plug for my daily email. I do a daily email about Go. So if you're learning Go and would like to subscribe, head over to boldlygo.tech/daily. Let me just share that on my screen. boldlygo.tech/daily. Zoom in a little bit there. I wanted to zoom in on that, but I can't. boldlygo.tech/daily. Sign up for my daily email about Go, and I send weekly announcements every time I live stream, so you won't miss the next one. Anyway, thanks a ton for joining. It's always fun to have interaction and get questions. Thanks a lot, Aslak, for your question. I really do appreciate that, even though I'm not sure if I gave the best answer in the world. Hope to see many of you next week. Until then,